From Hillsboro, the safest town in Jefferson County, this is Jeffco Tonight.
Greetings and welcome to Jeffco Tonight. I'm your host, Derek Larimore, and tonight we'll be covering the murder comedy play, The Murder Room, as well as the upcoming 48-hour film festival, and to send you off, the Jeffco Jazz Combo to enlighten your day, soothe your soul, and give you a smooth feeling in the heart. All right, I'm joined here today with my guest, Dalton Mathis, a star from The Murder Room. How are you today, Dalton?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, too. Well, first off, how would you describe the play? Like, its atmosphere and its characters. Like, what's the general idea?
Oh, it's very goofy. We're all numbskulls, all dumb to the core. It's a really convoluted kind of story. I can't say too much because I don't want to give any storyline away.
No spoilers in this room.
Yeah. But I'd say it's a really, really funny show. I think it's going to be really worth it for anybody that comes out to see it.
Really? Who is the character you play? Like, what's the character overview on them?
My name is Barry Draper, and I am the one American amongst the 6 British folks in the cast. And I'm not the dumbest, but I'm definitely really goofy and American. Like, I'm overly American.
All about cheeseburgers and French fries.
More or less.
Well, moving away slightly from the play, like, this obviously isn't your first time in front of a camera. Is it your first time in a play? Like, no? How would you describe your past experiences as an actor?
Oh, man. I haven't been doing it for an incredibly long time. Like, this is only my second full year of doing, like, acting type stuff. Like, I did a couple of shows in my high school, my senior year when I started, but I haven't been doing it for incredibly long, but I fell in love with it instantly. It's my passion.
Yeah,
So.
I can tell you're a person who's just destined to be up there.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Like you said, you fell in love with the career of acting. Is there anybody, famous, any actor that you idolize or maybe aspire to be like,
Oh, man. Tim Curry's a really funny guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's my favorite. Right before I was in my first show, which was actually also a murder mystery, I watched the movie Clue, and he actually plays the butler in that movie, and he's kind of what I based my first character that I was playing in that first murder mystery off of. So he's kind of been an inspiration that I've looked at a lot through the years.
Yeah. Were you the bad guy?
No, I wasn't.
Oh. Well, if Tim Curry's your inspiration, you probably should be shooting for that.
Yeah, probably, most likely.
Do you feel confident about this play?
Definitely. We've got an awesome cast. I've worked with all of them at least once. They're all super funny people, really energetic, which makes the show 1,000 times better. And not to mention that, the script, like the writing and everything that the playwright did is phenomenal. It's so witty and funny and never a dull moment in the show.
Who is the playwright?
Jeff Sharkey? Sharkey?
Sharkey.
Something like that. I'm sorry. I should be more versed in that.
Oh, no, it's fine. So you said, the experience was fun. Anything funny happened during filming? Are we going to have a blooper reel? Because, that's what the people really want to see.
Oh, man. We could if we had a camera going back there. There's a lot of escapades that go on backstage. Just a lot of dumb conversations that we have backstage while we're making fun of each other's characters. No one experience in particular, but yeah.
So you make fun of each other's characters?
Oh, most definitely. Every single character has multiple dumb moments that make everybody just like, you can't go through the show without questioning everybody's sanity in this house because everybody is just numbskull, really.
Without face palming.
Yeah.
So hard. So on that note, do you relate to your character?
Oh, man. My character's a really stand-up guy. Like, he's not afraid to fight for the people he loves. So I relate to him in that aspect. But, like, the first time I was reading through my script after I got the part, I immediately was like, I've got to play someone no less than 100 IQ points dumber than I am.
Oh, wow.
So,
Well, that leaves them at a very solid, like, 50, you would say, probably.
I don't know my IQ personally, but probably around there.
I gave 50 because I assume that's high. Were there any Were there any troubles during production?
There's a lot of technical aspects that had to be worked out, and there's a couple scenes that are really convoluted, like a lot of running around, and a lot of it happens in the dark.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was a little tricky figuring it all out, but I think we nailed it down pretty tight.
What would be the trickiest part? Like, without any spoilers, of course.
There's one scene in particular where the lights go out and everybody's running back and forth in pitch black. Like, if you think it's dark in the audience, like up on stage, it's about like 20 times darker. Oh my gosh. The first time we were running that with no lights at all, we ran into each other so many times. Like, there were bruises and scratches and stuff that came out of that were never necessary.
The dangers of being an actor, huh?
Yeah, it's tough life.
Oh, wow. So, going off the actor's life, are you planning to, like, you're in love with it, obviously, you said. So, how far are you planning to expand on this? Like, are you going to be in another play pretty soon?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, we're having auditions for Grease, actually, pretty soon after this show's over. So I'm going to be auditioning for that, and then fairly shortly, I'll be auditioning for a couple of schools with, good acting programs and stuff that I can hopefully get into, like a conservatory for acting or musical theater or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to pursue it in the future.
Alrighty. Well, do you have any specific part in Grease that you want to go after? I know everybody wants to go after, I forget his name, the lead.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, every guy usually dreams of being the lead. I think in that show particularly, it's such a funny show, and it's every character's got such a dynamic role, and everybody's so goofy and quirky that I think any part would really satisfy me. I'm not like one of those major divas who is going to freak out if I don't get the lead.
Oh yeah,
so.
Of course. And that's great because you're flexible about your roles, so you'll landing them quickly. You'll be the best Sandy Grease has ever seen.
For sure. I'll get a blonde wig.
Oh yeah. All right. So do you have any closing statements that you want to say?
Just be sure to come out and see the show. I think it's going to be a really good time. Show dates are this Thursday, March 6th at 10 a.m., Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m.
All right. You have any shout-outs you want to give to the camera? Maybe to your mom, maybe to your co-stars, maybe a future wife?
Oh my gosh, if my future wife is watching this, then I'm very impressed.
Oh.
She's very in love with me for watching this.
Well, if you're going to be an actor, you better get ready for tons of stalkers then.
Probably. All right.
All right, well, it was a good interview. It was nice chatting with you.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Greetings and welcome back to Jeffco Tonight. Last time we covered the play, The Murder Room, but now we'll be covering the 48-hour film festival, where students need to make use of every minute they're given to make a film worthy of the $300 prize money. Right now I'm joined by my guest, one of the professors here at this college, Tim Boehm. Hi Tim, how are you?
Hi, good to be here.
Now, how excited are you for this upcoming film festival?
Pretty excited. I don't know, getting a little jittery.
Oh.
It's getting close. It's a fun thing.
Oh yeah, you would know about it because you've been in 3 now, hasn't it?
Well, I have been on the committee, which has sort of set the thing up, and yeah, this is our 4th annual one, so we've had 3 before. I was there with the first time we set up the film project, festival, contest, whatever you want to call it. I've also participated in 2 St. Louis contests for 48-hour film contests where I was actually working on those. I don't make a movie here. I just sit in judgment of those movies that are submitted.
You look down at the lowly worms.
This is crap. This is good. I wish we had so many that we could. Last year we only had 3 submissions. We had 3 prizes last year, so they were all winners.
Yeah, and that was something we were talking about earlier, is that the film festival occurs during spring break. So obviously people have things they want to do during that time, and it must be rough.
Well, there's that tricky aspect to it of the reason behind that is that, of course, it is 48 hours where you're going to, some people are going to try to stay up the entire 48 hours. Like whoever's overseeing the project should probably only count on at most like 3 or 4 hours sleep, unless they've got a big team they can work with. So the best time period for both us and I think for the students is during spring break, and that way there's time to recover before you go back to classes. And if we just had this in the middle of a school week, people would
you would kill people.
Yeah, exactly. They'd kill people. We'd get sued.
Yeah.
They'd miss classes.
Oh, that's the worst part about it.
You could have it on a weekend, but then everybody's like going in like zombies or not making their Monday classes. You don't want that. So.
Yeah. You said earlier that you've personally participated in a few film festivals yourself.
2, yeah.
Yeah, and you spoke last question that you know the process going into this. Is it really that hellish?
Well, like I said, it kind of depends on like how many people do you have to work on the project. Like in actual movies, they'll have something called like a second unit. So one unit could be working on something, and the second unit could be working on something, and so you've got a big team.
Yeah.
So if you had like 10 people on, now you have to have 5 people can be representatives of a team, but you could have 10 people working on it, and just the other 5 aren't mentioned. You could have, ideally you could have 2 groups filming at different locations. Then it's not so. Most people don't have that many people to participate. So it does come down to kind of like 4 or 5 core people that are really trying to work the entire. And if you don't think it's difficult to work on something for 48 hours, if you don't need any sleep, then it's okay. Load up on that 5-hour energy drink again and again, every 5 hours. But I personally.
You'll be playing every role.
Yeah, after I've stayed up the first night, day 2, I start to go like this, and the poor editor, the person who actually then has to cut together all the footage and add in sound or whatever. That's the person that's really got it rough because they have to work on it till the bitter end.
Yeah, and they've got nobody helping.
Well, sometimes I've actually kind of gathered around, even though I don't know what to do. I actually did work a little bit on selecting music to be added into the film during the editing process. Yeah. So I tried to help a little bit with the editing, but I was a writer, so
Yeah, of course.
In theory, I should just write something and then say it's your problem to deal with now.
Yeah, I know I don't have 10 friends. So I don't have enough to put together for a film festival.
Just find some bums.
Yeah. Tell them
buddy, give you $2.
Oh yeah. It's
some aluminum cans.
It's a $10 prize money. We'll split it between us.
It's your chance for fame, dude.
So, what are the rules specifically of the film festival for those that don't know?
Well,
obviously it's 48 hours.
Yeah,
you have to
that's
finish
the biggest part. Yeah, 48 hours to do it, and and even if you submitted it late, let's say it took 50 hours. Okay, well you could still then have your film shown at a public screening, which we'll have late, after a week after all the films have been submitted. You just couldn't compete for the prize. If you're competing for the prize, it's got to be done in 48 hours. Can't be longer than 7 minutes. Like I said, 5 named people on your team, but you could have more that could work on it. You can't use like copyrighted music or anything like that. So that would be, but there's some free stuff on the internet. And then the other final thing is that we have these required elements. There's a required character each year. And it's not something really narrowed down like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, again copyrighted. But we see, like one year we had a character called the Thinker. So you can kind of interpret that however you want. We had a required line, always has to be in there, an exact line that has to be said at some point during the movie. And it's usually something pretty innocuous like, thanks, sir, I'll have another.
Yeah, I'll have what she's having.
Yeah, I'll have what she's having, right. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll use that. No, I can't use that now that I've said it on TV.
Oh, no. But, spoilers.
An object of some sort that has to be incorporated somehow into the film, maybe just like a a wrench or something like that. Oh yeah, one year it was a painting. So it's stuff like that. It ensures then that you're making the movie within that 48-hour time period, that you didn't just have this sitting on your shelf or whatever.
And that's what I was going to ask later, is how you make sure that these films are legit, that they didn't just do it in 50 days last year.
Yeah, obviously there's only so far you can guarantee that. I suppose if they made some weird artistic piece or whatever, then they did have some weird footage sitting around and whatnot. Maybe almost anything could fit, and then you just have to throw in.
Splice in a few
lines. It might be pretty obvious, like you're watching one movie and suddenly somebody just, hey, here's suddenly a character called the Thinker. We didn't have characters before this, but so it would look probably pretty goofy, and it probably wouldn't fit. Probably wouldn't make for a very good movie. But obviously, if somebody shot a bunch of footage or something, and they somehow splice that into a movie,
then obviously it would be a higher quality.
We're not going to hire a private investigator to figure out who's cheating. I don't think people are that motivated.
Yeah, just have the film running, and and then you just cut to a guy in front of a green screen wearing a suit, being like, "I'll be back. I'm the Thinker."
I'll have what she's having.
Yeah. What would you say is the hardest part? Like you said, editing. What aside from that, like acting, maybe the story writing? What would you say is the hardest part?
Well, I think that it's the whole idea. And again, I'm glad I've done this twice, just so I know about some of these firsthand. I mean, one thing is that you definitely need somebody to be in charge, because like one group, I know it was a great group of people, but I would say that year was sort of like, I mean, one person was sort of in charge, but we kind of treated it like a committee. And the person who was in charge, there wasn't a sort of like, it wasn't authoritarian, and it was sort of like, okay, well, let's do that. And we kind of, I was a writer, this other guy was a writer, we had two writers on the project. It's not like we disagreed wildly, but it's sort of like the story seemed to gotta go in this direction. So you need some focus. Yeah. And the other thing you gotta remember is that you are telling a 7-minute movie, and I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's helpful to think of it like, let's cram a 2-hour movie into 7 minutes. Maybe you want to think of something that's small enough to where it doesn't have like 10 different scenes or something like that. And I've even seen people make small films where it's sort of like the entire film is set in one room, just to sort of take away the problem of having to, again, run around to different shoots.
Yeah.
And really, you should only be shooting film for like the first 24 hours. The second 24 hours, you should be editing the thing, bringing in the music and that sort of thing. It's ideal anyway.
It even says that on the guidelines.
Right. And we do open up the Mac Lab in the second 24 hours of the contest. We open up the Mac Lab at the Fine Arts Theater at Jeffco, so that people, if they don't have Mac Lab kind of editing equipment or any other kind, they could come to our lab.
If they don't own a computer or anything.
Yeah, if you don't own a computer, if you're like me, you're part Amish,
Oh, yeah.
On my mom's side.
So you obviously have experience with these films. You've been in them. You've done voiceovers. You've written for them. I know you're a bit of a connoisseur of films in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I teach film appreciation here at Jeffco.
Of course.
Yeah.
So in the past 3 years, with your experience with all of these things, what would you say is your favorite film that you've seen in the film festival?
Boy, can I even remember the title? There was one submitted the first year. I know the guy who made it. His name's Josh Friedrich, I believe you pronounce it. He's a former student of mine, which I'd actually kind of forgotten, I think, by the time he made the movie. I'm like, hey, I think I know this guy. But he made a really good film the first year. It was one of those weird, that was kind of divisive. You either sort of liked it or hated it. And I mean, the first time I saw it, I was kind of like, eh. It was definitely on the artsy side.
Oh, yeah.
And I just can't remember what that thing was called, but it was it just had some really kind of almost impressionistic sort of imagery, but it still had all the thing, had the required elements and everything. And it just, the story was, you had to kind of go, okay, I think somebody is sort of like, maybe committed suicide here or something. It was a little hard to follow.
So it was something you had to interpret. Something.
Yeah, it was like, to me, I like, and they don't all have to be like this. Some films have been very straightforward and even like humorous or whatever. But the thing about that one is, that, you definitely had to work at it a little bit, kind of like a poem or a story or something. So.
Yeah. On the complete flip side, are there any films that you would recommend avoiding the template, like not doing that at all?
Well, I got to say, there's certain things that movies...
Like not calling anybody out or anything.
There's certain things that big budget movies and TV shows with budgets can handle a lot better than people. I wouldn't try to do any kind of car chases or really almost anything sort of cop related where it requires like shootouts or fights or anything like that. That stuff is that's for stunt coordinators and people with budgets. And we certainly, I think, in our little rules or whatever, we recommend like don't do anything where you're like waving around a gun or even a fake gun in public.
Life-threatening stuff or violence.
That apparently happened in St. Louis where I think they might have had permission. It was for an actual, they had a little bit of money, not a lot, but it was an independent filming near the Tivoli, and they were in the parking lot across from the Tivoli, and they repeatedly had a woman screaming because there's some kind of it's a horror movie or something, and people were just calling the cops like every 5 minutes going, hey, somebody's getting murdered across from the Tivoli or whatever. And like I said, I think they had permission to be there, but
it was still really inconvenient for everybody involved.
The people in the neighborhood they didn't get calls saying, oh, by the way, there's going to be a film. If you hear somebody screaming, don't worry about it. So I wouldn't try anything like that where you're going to get people calling in on you. And obviously, you can't film in places where you're not permitted to be or anything. So you got to get permission to be in places to film. So I wouldn't try anything that's too crazy like that. Science fiction, you can't do crazy effects and stuff, but you could have something.
You can imply a lot.
Yeah, you can imply a lot, and maybe that's the same way to go. Like we did one that we did a kind of a detective story, but it was more like a guy who was an amateur detective. He was like pretending to be like, hey, I think I'll try this out. So he was just going around talking to people. We didn't have him like getting in any kind of shootouts or anything.
Yeah. So going to your job specifically during the film festivals, like, what is your favorite part about, like, writing the short stories? Like, 7 minutes, you don't have a lot to do.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to accomplish? Like, you're trying to hit these main key points. Like, how do you hit them effectively?
Well, I got to say, I've only done it twice, and the one time I was sort of writing with a partner or whatever. I will say that, don't always take your first idea unless you really hit some genius idea. Because I remember, like, last summer, I was working with our producer, Nicole Bach, who also teaches at Jeffco. And so she was, she wanted to know what my ideas were, and she was kind of, I was like, okay. And she had actually, I think, had an idea of like, I heard that like somewhere there was like, they smuggled caviar or something. So suddenly that was our idea. Caviar smugglers. We start coming up with genius ideas about, people smuggling caviar. It was like the Russian mob's involved. And for a while we thought this was genius. And then like 5 minutes later, we're like, this is starting to sound stupid.
Yeah.
And I think we went through like at least one or two more ideas before we finally hit upon something that works. So to me, that's kind of an exciting process to sort of, and I really don't have any sort of like easy thing like, this kind of movie or you need to hit all these points in 7 minutes. I did learn from doing it the first year, though, that there's a big danger in writing too much because then I actually did, when we filmed it, it was something ridiculous like 18 or 20 minutes, and we had to knock it down to like 6 or 7 minutes.
So then you have all that cut content, and then...
Yeah, and then can it even make sense anymore? So I would definitely, like I said, think in terms of really constricted storytelling with 2 or 3 scenes or whatever that and I don't know, I think they said something like, what I would recommend doing is once you've written things out, like practice reading it out loud and see how long it just takes to read it out loud, because if it takes 10 minutes to do it there, it might even take more when you're filming. People will pause dramatically and all that. So.
They've got to shout no while the camera pans to their face dramatically.
Exactly. Come on,
They're eating her.
You don't want them to do this as a speed reading exercise, speed recitation,
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, any final thoughts on the possible participants for the film festival this year? Any final advice that I maybe didn't ask about?
Well, like I said, it's kind of a crazy process. The one thing I will say is that we're meeting on the 20th is when the contest jumps off at noon, but before that at 10:30, or actually I think he's actually starts speaking at 10:45. We have a speaker named Eric Stans who has some pretty extensive experience working in commercials and on TV. I actually heard he was a second unit on a movie that came out on video, I think recently, called We Are What We Are, and I've heard good things about that movie. So he knows about making movies quickly, and he spoke at our first annual contest, and he was just really gave a lot of great tips on how to work quickly and how to just not freak out and not lose your mind and everything. So I think anything I only know about the writing and what I've observed of some of the other stuff, but this guy can really give people some good He'll speak for about an hour before the contest starts, and he can give some good tips.
Awesome. Well, that was about it for today. It was a pleasure talking to you, Tim.
Good talking to you, Derek.
All right. That, that will be the 4th annual film festival coming up this March 20th, and it ends March 22nd. The deadline for entry is Friday, March 14th. It's like the Hunger Games with short films. You fight for survival, and you get a prize if you win. All right. After break, we'll come up with the Jeffco Jazz combo, and they will send you out with some smooth jazz. All righty. Thank you for watching Jeffco tonight. It's been a pleasure. Stay safe, have fun, drive well, I guess.